Hello and welcome to this afternoon hangout on the alternative channel, Anti-War. I should rename the channel Anti-Hysteria. I was watching a basketball game, eating lunch, and I was Creighton versus St. John's playing in New York. So basically on St. John's home turf in the Big East Championship. Championship tournament, second round or second day. So at halftime, it was close, 38-35. St. John's was winning, and I said, I'll lay down and take a little nap because I'd eaten my food, and I did. And I woke up and said, let's see. Game's not on. They're showing a replay from last night. The game got canceled at halftime. Because of the coronavirus, COVID-19. I said, these people have really gone mad. These are fanatics now. And so here's your liberal big government at work. I say that. The symptoms: nose running, right? Your nose is running. You cough, you're sneezing, you have shortness of breath in your chest. Now, any virus is dangerous. We're not downplaying viruses on this channel or saying we take them as a joke. I never said that. This thing has an unusual lack of head of foam on it. Guess I got it too cold or something. It's crackling a little bit. It's strange, but strange like this. It was foamier last night, but I didn't have it as cold. Oh well. 2019, they introduced this beer, limited time offering. Now I got a deal on it. I got a 4-pack of 12-ounce bottles for $1.99. So 50 cents a bottle minus a penny. Total. Well, that's a great price. It's short dated. Today is the day it goes off. It says freshest before 12th of March. Well, we're on March 12th, so it would have been freshest yesterday. But you know, it's one day. But still, those guidelines are made for a reason. The company knows when the stuff is optimally fresh. But I was going to buy 8 4-packs till I found out it was going off. I want the beer to be fresh, you know. But nice looking label, little stubby bottle. They started these stubbies, of all things, with Natural Light. Natural Light was the first one in these Anheuser-Busch stubbies. One of their economy brands, which if some of y'all know your beer history, yeah, this thing is so cool. If you know your beer history, Natural Light was their flagship light beer from 1977 to 82, 5 years. But they came out with Budweiser Light, renamed Bud Light, about a year or 2 later, 2 years later. And then that became the flagship, and Natural Light was put to the budget level. Yeah, there's Anheuser-Busch cap. Can't remember where I bought this cap. Oh, I remember at the Houston brewery, which no longer gives tours. I guess they didn't have anybody going out there to do the tour. I was the only one on the tour when I went. Of course, it was 10:30 in the morning, but still, you go to Anheuser-Busch in St. Louis, you'd be waiting in line to get on a tour. So this thing is strong. It's rich. It uses 2-row barley, water, of course, mostly water, 2-row barley malt, rice, hops, and yeast. And it's aged on 6-year-old Jim Beam barrel staves. That's the pieces of wood from the barrel. I don't know how they're able to clean those off or whatever, because they got metal rings holding the barrels together. But they have a process in Canada and a process in the United States of America. Some people didn't read it carefully and they thought that it had been aged for 6 years on Jim Beam barrel staves. It was aged on 6-year-old Jim Beam. Well, I guess that's the Jim Beam Black. I would be watching basketball right now. I won't be watching any more the rest of today. NBA canceled, the rest of the season canceled for how long? I don't know. College basketball canceled for how long? I don't know. Or they canceled the NCAA tournament. And I say this is fanaticism. I say liberal fanaticism, but there's Trump. Well, he's kind of liberal, but he canceled all travel to Europe for a month. Guide to your beers. 228 calories. So it's pretty fattening, this beer. I drank 2 yesterday. I'm drinking 1 now. I drank 1 later today. That'll be the 4. An oaky aroma with coffee and chocolate notes. Yes. Deliciously smooth finish. It's a Doppelbock is what it is. A Dunkel Doppelbock. Because you have Helles Doppelbocks also, bright ones. It's a very good rice adjunct Doppelbock, if you ask me. Hey, Ron. Hey there, Ron, says Ronnie. Yes. Hey, Ronnie. Now, people are going to come at me. I know they're going to say, now I should have done this on the main channel, but I don't do too much on this channel, right? I should have. They're going to say, the corona hasn't gotten to you yet. It might be in my body. I don't know. I don't feel sick, but, I'm not going to do like the NBA player touching all the microphones, showing off, and then he got it. It's kind of ironic. But typical overreaction. And it makes you wonder, like, what is this about? Like, do they know it's not that serious? Are they scamming us? Are they just dumb? I usually go down to the opinion that they're just not that smart. You're going to cancel a St. Patrick's Day parade. That's outside in the air. You can't stop it. Let's look on Wikipedia. Yeah, I know you're going to say that's not a reliable source. It's as reliable as the encyclopedias, the old book. You got to look at the footnotes. Coronavirus 19, COVID-19. Okay. The case fatality rate is estimated between 1% and 5%. But that's lower because that's of what they know. What I mean is people that report. A lot of people are going to catch it, have symptoms like of a cold, pay no mind to it, get better, and not ever go to the doctor. So see, it's 1 to 5%, and probably much closer to 1, probably less than 1, of people reporting it. It was kind of funny at first, but it's getting stupid now. Totally out of hand. Mask use is not recommended for the general public. No vaccine. Well, if you take the vaccine, I got nothing to say. People going to say I'm an anti-vax. I'm not saying nothing. They said on Channel 4 News, that's local channel here, CBS in Louisiana. Last year, they were talking about or it was the year before last, why you must get the flu vaccine. And then they admitted it was only 20% effective. I said 20% effective. So that means 80% of the time, it's not going to work. My father was telling me this morning, well, that's you saying that. I said, that's not me saying it. I didn't say it was 20% effective. They said it on Channel 4 News. And they're liberal, Wikipedia most definitely is a reliable source. I never understood what teachers had against it. Very rarely does it have false information. They're paranoid, because it puts people outside of their control. And government officials, most teachers work for the government. They don't want to give up control. I work for the government. Believe me, I know about control. So one of the main reasons I retired from teaching, I said, I don't want to work in a prison. I thought I was getting a job at a school, not a prison. They run it like a prison. Signs and symptoms. Those infected may either be asymptomatic, in other words, no symptoms. You have it, no symptoms. You get it, you have it, maybe it goes away, maybe it doesn't go away, you have no symptoms. All right. Or develop flu-like symptoms that include fever, cough, and shortness of breath. Sounds like something that people typically get. Diarrhea and upper respiratory symptoms such as sneezing, runny nose, or sore throat are less common. So sneezing, runny nose, sore throat, cases can progress to pneumonia, multiple organ failure, and death in the most vulnerable, which is the case for so many other common sicknesses. We don't really know the cause. They've got a made in one theories, these things. So they're saying rate of symptoms according to World Health Organization, the United Nations organization. Retrieved March 5th. 88% have fever, 68% dry cough, two most common symptoms. 38% fatigue, 33% you coughing stuff up, 18% shortness of breath. Only 18%, 19, less than 80% have talked about shortness of breath. And then all these other ones are less than 15%. Shortness of breath, joint pain, muscle pain, sore throat, headache, chills, nausea, vomiting, 5%. Nasal congestion, less than 5%. Diarrhea, less than 4%. Oh, whoa, oh, I can't believe it. Infected individuals may experience distress from quarantine, travel restrictions, side effects of treatment, or fear of the infection itself. That's probably more serious than the disease. I'm not a doctor. I don't make no claims to be a professional. Okay. Oh, they renamed. They didn't want to name it China because they didn't want to have stigmatization. Say stigmatize a beer. Okay. Now, if you have people that believe that the beer will cause the disease, they actually have more than one person on this planet who thought they shouldn't drink Corona beer because it could be dangerous because of the virus. Now, that's one person. It's scary that there would be one person on this planet that would believe that. But apparently, there are thousands of people that believe this and it hurt the Corona beer sales. Now, if people are going to believe that, can you now understand the hysteria, the foolishness? Hey, Ron, I was doing some research on the slaughterhouse cases regarding the 14th Amendment in Louisiana. I'm sure you can go on about that. Slaughterhouse cases. You'd have to jog my memory. I can go on about the 14th Amendment. Of course, the 14th Amendment wouldn't apply in this case. This is just generalized stupidity. Local government, state, and federal. And you got all these liberal controlled organizations, National Collegiate Athletic Association, NCAA, super liberal. I mean, look at the kind of stuff they perpetuate on the public. We're going to demand that all teams have to change their name if their name is like the Braves or the Indians. You see, because that's an insult to American Indians. It never was before. They did it in honor of the Indian tribes, but they retroactively rebuilt their morality and decided that that was suddenly an insult in the in the early 2000s. So all these teams like the Northeast Louisiana Indians had to change their name to the Warhawks. Arkansas State Indians had to change their names to the Red Wolves. But then some teams who had good connections, like Florida State University, the Seminole Indians, after some very nice financial attention from Florida State University and their supporters. Well, yeah, you can be the Seminoles because you have an official tribal sponsor. Suddenly it's not an insult. Alcorn State University, the Braves. They didn't have to change their name. Well, why not? It's an insult to Indians. They're not Indians. Oh, it's a historically black university. And, the liberals say, well, since the history of the African Americans in America, and they've suffered, and they can feel the pain of the Indian, and they have a kinship, blah, 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 some lousy explanation. And so they get to keep the name the Braves. I'm just saying, here's an example. The NCAA, these same people with that blockheaded thinking, they're going to cancel their sports. I'm sure the NAIA probably did already too. I haven't checked their website. I have season tickets to Southeastern Louisiana baseball. I told my father, I said, let me tell you something. If they cancel these games out in the fresh air because of this hysteria to this phantom danger in a practical sense, I know what you're going to say. Some people have died. It's 32 people. If we could save just one life, it's worth it. All that kind of liberal reasoning. I said, if they cancel those games, I want my money back. And if they don't give me the refund, I'll never get season tickets again. I'll turn my back on them. He said, oh, okay. It's kind of a hardship to drive to all those games and sit up there, especially the team is bad this year and probably continue to be bad. Don't tell me, oh, it was an emergency. No, it wasn't an emergency. You made it into an emergency. It was nothing wrong. It was no danger. Now, I checked the Valparaiso website. That's a Lutheran university in Indiana. They said it's still on, but that could change in an hour, right? Look at the game in New York. It got canceled at halftime. Why? People are in danger? The people weren't in danger. They didn't want to look bad because all the other teams were doing it. So, oh, man. I can find other things to do to go sit out there to watch a baseball game. I'm going to tell you right now. And they can tell me, you're just being difficult. I'm saying, you're the one being difficult. You cancel the games. I was ready to go. NBA. Look at all these fans that have season tickets. And they're way more expensive than these baseball tickets I bought. Pay hundreds of dollars. They've got to give the people a refund. Okay, let's see. The 14th Amendment didn't work in 1873 for those cases. The Supreme Court decided in favor of Louisiana, telling the butchers what to do. But later, cases upheld the 14th Amendment applying the Bill of Rights to states. I thought you'd be familiar. Well, I'm certainly familiar with the 14th Amendment overall, because that's why we have all these things that we have today. You could just think of any civil rights thing, just anything, doesn't matter. Just think of it, name it, and I'll show you how the 14th Amendment applies. That's the key to the riddle. My friend Paul and I talk about this. We said the 14th Amendment is the worst amendment because it basically invalidates the whole United States Constitution, essentially the whole original idea of the Constitution, which was a union of states, The 14th Amendment created a singular unitary government like you have in England, an empire. It created a legal empire. It was already an empire due to the U.S. conquering the states that tried to leave. Now, if you got to conquer somebody to keep them from leaving, then it's no longer a union. It's an empire. You're there by compulsion. You understand? So that's why we have all these court cases over the years. The slaughterhouse, I'm not familiar with, but I remember hearing about it, but I just don't recall it. And I don't talk about stuff I don't know about. Why should I? Plessy versus Ferguson, the famous railroad case, which started in New Orleans. Brown versus the Board of Education, Topeka, Kansas. That famous case in the 1940s with the law schools. Roe versus Wade. Whatever that not act. It's never a law. The Supreme Court ruling with the homosexual same-sex marriage. Just go on and on. Now, things like Title IX are not the 14th Amendment. That's another misapplication of the government power, you see. I've been enjoying the spring training games here in Clearwater. Went to a Phillies game last week and it was packed, Corona or no Corona. Well, get ready because Major League Baseball is super liberal, you know. They're knee-jerk on everything. They're really knee-jerk. They're like sick. They're sick in a way. They're demented. I watch it and I say they're really sick. They're like major virtue signalers. They have a guilt trip or something. Or no, they don't have a guilt trip. They just want you to think they're so good. Look at me, I'm so good. I'll give you a perfect example. Jackie Robinson week. You know, they say, oh, he's a great hero because the first black player to play in Major League Baseball. He wasn't the first. He was the first in the modern era. They had black players in the early 1900s, late 1800s. He didn't get to play till 1947. That's right. He could have played 5 years earlier. But he had a fairly embarrassing association with the Communist Party in Los Angeles. He wasn't a communist, no. But they were using him to promote their agenda, you see. And right after World War II, or right during and after World War II, when the Cold War got going, they were investigating like all these communist front groups, okay? So, you know, how much had communism infiltrated the U.S. government, news media, entertainment industry, and sports and whatever. And labor unions are very serious there. So it was pretty well known that Jackie Robinson had been affiliated with these people, not a member of it, but affiliated with the front groups. And maybe he was unaware at first that he was being used by these people. But they actually approached him and said, look, these are communists, okay? You may not know what a communist is, but we do, and you need to get away from these people because we can't have you like messing with them. But he wouldn't listen, you know. Don't tell me what to do. He's kind of like a Colin Kaepernick of today. So they don't bring all that up about Jackie Robinson. So they had to like put a cleanse on him. They sent him to Montreal to play. Well, we'll send you to Canada. They're real liberal there, you know, and they don't know about your history, so you could play up there. Don't make any trouble, though. We know you're kind of a hothead, one of these activist type people. We really don't need that. So he was playing up there in minor league, and then they decided to bring him to the LA Dodgers. The Brooklyn Dodgers, New York Dodgers. They weren't LA until Los Angeles till 58 season. But they kind of told him, you know, can't be associated with all these actors. But that's probably why they brought him in, because he was kind of known as like this big civil rights activist guy. And plus he was a very good football and baseball player. So they brought him in. Then they brought this guy, Larry Doby, I believe it was his name, into the American League, but he doesn't get any attention. But anyway, what I'm saying is they have this Jackie Robinson week in Major League Baseball. You say you're jealous. You don't like it. I don't care if they do that. It doesn't matter to me. So what they decided, they're gonna they did crazy things. Every player is gonna wear number 42 in the whole league. Every player on that day is gonna wear 42. What are you gonna have, like a metaphysical encounter with Jackie Robinson? Like, you're not him, okay? Well, I identify with him. Okay. So everybody's going to wear his number. Then they decide every team is going to retire number 42. Every team's going to retire that number. Nobody will ever wear that number, 42. It's so sacred, except on Jackie Robinson Day when they all wear it. So you say, well, the Texas Rangers don't wear number 42. That team didn't even exist when Jackie Robinson played. What connection do they have with him? It's a spiritual connection. If you disagree with that, you are obviously a racist individual. You see, that's the kind of thinking they use. Then if you watch the coverage, they go on, and they all take turns. I've watched it. I watch it carefully. All the announcers take turns. They don't really talk about the game. Oh, look, a hit. Oh, he's got a perfect game going. That's pretty remarkable. Well, anyway, they take turns talking about what Jackie Robinson means to them and the struggle he had to go through in all of this. And then they interview the players, many of whom seem confused about who he is. Actually, they don't seem to really. It's almost like they had to coach them before. Like they don't. They're like, who is that? You know. But anyway, they just go on and on and on, and they wear it out. And the whole purpose is to show you, look how good we are. We are so moral and much more morally superior than the people in the 1940s. Really what they're trying to tell you. It's not to show you how good he was. It's to show you how good they are. And that's the same thing with this coronavirus. It's not going to really make a difference. It's not going to stop the spread. It's not going to really help anybody. But it's to show you, look how good we are. Look at our abundance of caution. Look how much we care about you. But I think it's really about, look how much we can control you. Are you familiar with Pollock versus Farmers Loan Trust from 1895? No. I'm not. So there we go. You might say, there's nothing to do this year. I know, everything's been canceled. And they always use the same terms. Out of an abundance of caution. If we could save just one life, I've grown up my whole life. I'm 52 years old. Well, I'll be 52 next month. Sorry, I jumped the gun. Haha. They always use these phrases. I've noticed this my whole life. Liberals will say, out of an abundance of caution. At the end of the day, they'll say that all the time. Well, at the end of the day, or they'll say, if it could save just one life. They always say that, if it could save just one life. And they create hysteria. Now, remember, liberals are the same people that gave us atom bomb attacks on civilians. They weren't worried about saving just one life then, but why bring that up? Are you familiar with Pollock? Okay. Yeah, forced corporate morality is a load of crap, but it's understandable from a business perspective because of the law. You see, the law enables that because of civil rights laws. See, if they didn't have civil rights laws, most of these businesses would tell them to get lost. Even a boycott wouldn't matter because the vast majority of the people would see through it and they would support, more people would go to those places like Chick-fil-A when they said, oh, they're so Christian. But actually their business went up. It went up. You see, they're worried about lawsuits. Civil rights laws are created not to make people equal or to prevent discrimination. This is my theory. Civil rights laws were created to make lawyers rich. Because then they can cruise around looking for a case. And one of these beer reviewers says, oh, well, look, Miller Coors had 20 different allegations of racism. I said, but I wasn't going to argue with him. I wanted to say every company has 20 different allegations of racism in the last 5 years, probably 200. Why? Because people know I can use that. I can play that card. Maybe I did a bad job. Maybe I'm a bum. Maybe I don't do my work. And even if they're not that way, they got these lawyers cruising around and they say, Oh, make a civil rights case. You can score. You can score. So, of course, Miller Coors had civil rights complaints filed against him. Every company does. That's always the case. It's a complaint. Okay? People do that. Why? For various reasons, normally to cover for doing a bad job. They say they're trying to fire me because I'm a minority. But it's probably because, and you know, most companies don't care what race you are. No, it's probably because you don't do your job. Okay? And you're going to say, you believe that. No, I work at a company. You know, companies, they're trying to make money. They're trying to do their job. They don't have time for all that. Now, should people make racist jokes at work? No. Do people do it? Yeah, all day, of all races. Should they use rough, sexual, crude language? No. Do they? Yes, all day. I don't like it, but I don't make a thing out of it. I'm not an activist. You know, when they said, look what Donald Trump said, remember in the trailer when the guy secretly recorded him and sat on the tape for 11 years? So, of course, he sat on tape. They were going to use it if he started to get popular. But they say, oh, look at the language this man uses. They thought that's the silver bullet. He's gone now. But that didn't impress anybody. People said, well, everybody talks like that at work, whether they mean it or not. And I said to myself, this is not going to work. I hear this every day. I don't like it, but I hear it every day. This is not remarkable. Maybe it's remarkable if somebody didn't talk like that. Okay, let's look at his comments. The Pollard case said the 1894 Income Tax Act was unconstitutional. Oh, right, because it wasn't apportioned. Right. Oh, yeah, I remember. They didn't say you couldn't have an income tax. It said it had to be apportioned, which is very complicated. You couldn't have a direct income tax. So the 16th Amendment set up the direct income tax from the liberals, the progressives, of course. Americans don't realize income tax has only been a thing since 1913. That's right. And it was, what, 2% back then? And they promised it's going to be so low. They always promise, the progressives. They always lie, too. You know, it's going to be 2%. Nothing. That's nothing. But then it goes up to 15%. I pay 15% every year. 15% of my money the government takes. I'm not talking about the state government. They take a lot too. I'm talking about the United States government. You see, so and it was the same thing back then. A lot of hysteria. People are starving. We need money to help people from starving. Nobody was starving. Come on, man. Oh, well, I don't want to start ranting and raving about every liberal thing that I know about, like the New Deal, etc., which I could rant about, of course. You say, you need to watch Fox. People tell me that you need to watch Fox. I say, I do watch it. They're not conservative. They're neoconservative. You think you'll ever hear anybody on Fox take a stand against the New Deal? Wrong. I saw a commercial for Fox News yesterday. What are they all doing? They're all taking turns standing in front of the Lincoln Memorial. I said, ha ha. What a joke. Now, I love your conversations, Ron. Got to get back to work, though. It's freaking tax season. Talk later. Oh, right. I'm an accountant. See you later, Ronnie. I understand that. So don't take my advice. And anyway, I'm not even giving it. I'm not even giving advice. I'm just saying how I feel about something. I feel in my mind that this is a joke. You can do whatever you want. I saw a man buying all kind of soap and cleaning products at Walmart today. I said, oh my goodness. So I'm not giving any medical advice. I have no competency to do that. I'm just saying, to me, it seemed like a scam. And all the people who I predicted would overreact, they're overreacting. But as predicted, they always do. They probably know what they're doing, though. And they're dumb. The neocons are actually former New Dealers. That's right. And Trotskyites from the Soviet Union. That's worse than being a former New Dealer. I'd rather they were New Dealers. And anyway, what do you mean former New Dealers? They're all New Dealers. Every neocon in this world supports the New Deal. Shoot. All right, this beer is great, though. You say, well, Anheuser-Busch is liberal. I know that. I have some intelligence. I am subscribed, so to speak, on Facebook with Anheuser-Busch, and I know what they're going to do every year. They got all their stuff, their causes. But remember, they wouldn't have all that. I mean, they might. They might be a liberal company. But they probably, most companies wouldn't have all that if it wasn't for these anti-discrimination laws, which is like a paradise for these unscrupulous lawyers. And that's what they do. They cruise around looking for victims, trying to find people to make a case where there is no case, to make up some lies for some made-up story, or even if it is a real story, it's a trivial thing, so they can get a payout, okay? Now, that was a very enjoyable beer. I feel better now because I was really angry, and I'm going to still be angry, and I'm not going to stop being angry. So, oh, well. We got Thunder and Thursday in 4 hours and 18 minutes. Get ready for that, because that could be full bore craziness. Craziness. And I don't even care. James P. Madonna's already wound up. I'm wound up. Eric said he's going to join. Alex might join. Man, that sounds like an explosive mix. That sounds like bad trouble could occur. And well, I don't even care about that. I don't think it's going to happen. My main concern is not somebody blowing up and screaming at people. My main concern is, do I get to do my rum taste challenge? I ain't worried about the screaming. Like when the thing happened with Meet Me at the Bridge and all last year, I wasn't really worried about that. I just was worried because it messed up my taste challenge. So I deleted it because I didn't like some of the language used. I didn't care really, but I just didn't like the language. I didn't want to know my channel, you know. So I just deleted it and I restaged the taste challenge. That's all I did. I just redid the taste challenge in another video. But that's my main concern. Is it going to mess up my taste challenge? I don't care about the screaming and the hollering. Because I want to do Ron Pontalba. Oh no. Ron Pontalba rum. Hey, you could buy it if you want. It was $6.99 a liter, but I wouldn't recommend it. This thing here, it looks like an Ocean Pacific t-shirt from 1989. Doesn't it? It looks nice, but man, this stuff here. Whew. Ouch. Ouch. Oh, it hurt my body just to smell it. Against Appleton Estate. Boy, what a fiasco that's going to be. Appleton Estate, I would say Ron Pontalba has about as much chance of beating Appleton Estate as all of these people using good sense with this coronavirus, COVID-19. You say, well, they're not going to use good sense because that's right. And that's why this is not going to beat Appleton Estate. There ain't no way. It cannot happen. It is an impossibility. Look at all those bees. Look at your face. It's full of pollen. I'm looking at this bee humming around. What do you call it? Hovering around. I just want to let you know your face is covered with pollen. All right. I'm being swarmed with bees everywhere right now. Everything's full of pollen. My neighbor down the street was telling me, my nose is running, my eyes are watering. I got allergies. I said, I don't suffer with allergies, thankfully, this year, or I haven't for a few years. I said, but my nose is always bothering me because everything is moldy here in Louisiana. Everybody's nose is bad. But But she says she had allergies or something. All right, thanks. I'll be back on the regular channel now.